My name is Aubrey Young Escobedo, and I'm doing assignment 4, Critical Thinking Exercise 2 Families, and I've chosen to do the video option for this assignment. So getting started with question 1, what are the characteristics, interpersonal, emotional, social, physical, etc., of healthy family relationships? Healthy characteristics I found in our reading of Gladding included open communication, tolerance of and cohesion with other family members, and commonly shared traditions. Characteristics I would personally include would be appropriate reactionary responses, and I will get to what I mean by that in the next slide. Making time for each other, respecting family when family may not be present. So, for example, if my sister is not around and other people are talking about her, I stick to the facts and I stand up for her. Openness to conflict, this is a very important one. I think it's very important to be able to voice how you feel and bring up conflict without feeling like there are repercussions or that it's going to be it will be difficult, but that the consequences are proportionate to the conversation, right? Healthy listening skills, of course, personal responsibility for how we feel and avoiding blame and understanding impact over intention. This is a huge one in my family and with my in-laws. I think the example I use a lot is, when you step on someone's toe and you didn't mean to step on their toe, but they still hurt really bad because you stepped on their toe, they still might need you to address it or say sorry. I think a lot of times we don't intend to hurt our family members, but sometimes the impact of the decisions that we make still does. And sometimes people need that to be addressed and they might ask for a sorry because they were hurt. And that is okay. Of course, they're responsible for their own feelings, but sometimes, even if our intentions are good, we still hurt people and we still need to address that. Consider how you define dysfunctional or unhealthy family relationships are functioning. What potential issues, i.e., child tantrums, sibling rivalry, fighting, parent-child arguments, household dispute over rules, chores, curfew, etc., do you consider to be part of normal family functioning, and what do you consider those behaviors to be dysfunctional and require professional intervention? At what point? So, just to give a quick definition of what I believe dysfunctional family and healthy family functioning is, for me, this occurs when a family member's reaction disproportionately matches the behavior. So, if a child is putting their hand on the hot stove, I think a parent has the right to yell at them and say, "Hey, take your hand off the stove. You're going to get hurt." If a child accidentally spills a glass of water, it would not be appropriate to yell at them. It would be more appropriate to let them know it's okay, we all make mistakes. Let me show you how to clean this up in a calm, neutral tone. So, if the family member is a child reacting inappropriately, their current developmental milestones must be taken into account. So if the child is having excessive tantrums, all 2-year-olds have tantrums, haven't met one that hasn't had one yet. If their tantrums are excessive or excessively violent, then I think that is where a professional might want to take a look and say, hey, what's going on with this child? Is there, are we looking at autism, or are we just looking at this child's unique neurodivergence, or what else is going on here? So dysfunction versus professional intervention, very tricky question. I would say anything the family can handle on their own within a reasonable time frame and doesn't leave any family members with significant trauma or grief, I think that would be more dysfunction. Um, I think professional intervention is needed when those requirements are not met or when someone's personal safety is at risk. Okay, next question. There are times during family counseling when a family member brings up suspected abuse. How might reporting suspected abuse Sexual, physical, emotional neglect, etc., impact your therapeutic work with families? Great question. This is why I think it's so important to state that you are a mandatory reporter and what you report during your first session, if not one of the first things you say. This allows everyone to be aware of what you are required to do as part of your job if these things were to come up. In terms of how this will affect the family, it honestly may be overwhelmingly negative at first, and that's okay. You may need to focus on regaining trust, on rapport building afterwards, and they ultimately may not trust you or they may drop you. But the law is the law, and reporting abuse and having documentation of these things is ultimately for the well being of the family to report such issues. So, what are your perceptions or possible biases about doing family counseling in which suspected abuse or substantiated abuse has occurred? I think my biggest problem slash bias is to over therapize the victim and defend them, and simultaneously find ways to, like I say, punish the perpetrator, but maybe just like dig into them a little bit, which again, there is a time and a place and appropriate ways to do that. But I've recognized in my work with children, a lot of times I tend to do this with victim versus bully slash perpetrator, and I've had to take a step back from this mindset a couple times. Oftentimes, as social workers, we are this family last line of defense, what many feel is their last chance to fix their broken family. So it's our job to be aware and appropriately address abuse, but it's not our job to judge it. People make mistakes and they can make freaking huge mistakes, and we can't judge their motivations for family therapy. We can only create a safe space for these families to hopefully heal, whatever that may look like. Sometimes that looks like, you hurt me really bad and I know you want a relationship with me, but I can honestly only do contact on holidays over the phone. And sometimes that's what that looks like. And sometimes it's, oh, I'm so sorry, let's be best friends again. Or there's a lot of ways it can go. We're not there to make those decisions for the family. We are just there to facilitate and support them in the decisions that they make and provide them with tools the to make appropriate decisions and hope that they make those choices. But again, we cannot control them. So that is what I would say in response to that. As far as references, I wanted to put this in here to fulfill the APA requirement. This is the Gladding textbook that we use in our class that I wanted to show that I referenced this in the beginning of my presentation. And that is all that I have. So I will end there.